Today we're attempting to make a bow for $50, including the tools, including the arrows, including the fletching, including the bowstring. So I've made a few videos highlighting how you can make a bow really cheap, $10, $15, $20. I had some people ask, what about the tools? Rightly so, because I didn't calculate tools in there. Now, I was intending to just do materials, but some people don't have the tools. I want to see today if I can take the challenge of making a bow, arrows, fletchings, and the string for under $50. Now, this kind of pains me because I'm going to use a lot of methods here that aren't great. Personally, I don't like cheap gear. I like really nice things, but that's not how I started. I started with cheap gear. Now, one quick tip is that you can go to thrift markets, well, if you live in a time in history when those are available, or antique stores or garage sales, and find some really good gear cheap. Hey, awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you for shopping at Shatterproof Archery.
Well, that was a failure, not even close to what I needed. So we basically have $28 to get tools, arrows, and fletchings, and a bowstring, and clamp, scraper tool, file, sharpener, a draw knife, chainsaw file, coarse rasp, clamp, arrow point, saw. Should be no problem. Budget, but barely. So this is gonna be a lot harder than I thought it was. I sure hope this works. I don't even know if I can make a bow out of this. Got all the tools, we've got all the materials, and now we're gonna head back to the shop and build this bow. We're gonna make it work. Although I'm a little bit nervous because this was not easy. I'm using very, very little amount of tools, which means my time that's gonna go into making this bow is gonna be much greater because I'm gonna be using a razor blade basically the whole time. Would you be okay if I use this chair? Hey guys, I'm extremely excited because we're launching Shatterproof Archery merchandise. Now, I need your help. If you wouldn't mind ordering now so that we can get it to you in a month, that'd be fantastic. Here's why. We're gonna take a pre-order from you guys and we're gonna place our order with our supplier on April 1st. So get your order in before April 1st and then you'll be able to get it mid to late April. I'll get it to you as soon as possible. And then after that, that'll allow us to have it in stock all the time. But this first order, we're doing a pre-order. There are incentives for you to go ahead and order right now, like as soon as you can, because the first 70 people who order, we're gonna give you a free Shatterproof Archery tumbler. So I'm just gonna throw that in the package and send it out to you if you're one of the first 70 people that order. Thank you for the support. We've been looking forward to launching our merchandise for a long time. Not only so, I didn't wanna do something like Teespring. I'm not saying that's bad, but I wanted the control. I've went through actually multiple t-shirts to make sure I get a comfortable one, hoodies, beanies, hats. We're trying to give you something that you'll actually like to wear. So at least this is something I like to wear. Good quality materials, It's not like I just got the cheapest thing out there. We actually had to send back some cheaper items and get a little nicer stuff so that it would be usable to my standards at least. Thanks so much for all the support. Thank you a million. Go get some merchandise for yourself, your kids, your friends, your family, anybody who you think would like to be shatterproof. Really means a ton to me. Let's get back to the video. Well, those are no fun. Oh. Ouch. And we've got our natural wood stain in case we need it. With wood glue, you can't cut off the air 100% because the glue dries with contact of the air. Unlike a lot of bow making glues dry like epoxy on a chemical reaction. Another note on wood glue is that generally it's above 55 degrees it needs to cure. So sometimes when it's cold in the shop, I'll glue up in here because I don't really want to in the house, but I'll take the bow into the house and put it in a closet or something to let it cure. Okay, this pine board, I'm going to make a tillering stick out of it by cutting it and gluing a few pieces together. Haha, got it. You may be wondering, why not grab a 2x4 for the tillering stick? Well, so I decided to try to work harder, not smarter. So what I did is I just grabbed this extra scrap of the oak I had, cut a slit in it, slid the utility knife in it, and then also slid the saw blade or hammered it in. So now I've got a handle for the saw blade and a scraper for the utility knife. The second tool I made is this little thingamajig. I cut a slit and an extra piece off of the tillering board, and then I slid the razor blade in. I broke a piece off of the hacksaw blade that I could shove in there. Then I made a second side of the wood to mate it together to hold it tight, and used a bunch of Gorilla Glue. So now I've got a handle for a little pocket knife. So far I've removed one side and I've got 3 to go to get the bow to shape, and then I'll do the back of the bow after that. I think the best method is to use the hacksaw blade to cut notches into the depth I want, and then go ahead and use this razor blade pocket knife to shave off as much as I can. Finish up with the rasp to true it up, and then grab the scraper at last to make it as smooth as I can. Method worked really good. The first side took me about an hour and 15 minutes. The second side took me 10 minutes. So making those tools made it a lot faster. Okay, we've got the sides tapered down to what we want. They're not completely straight, but that's okay for today. And now it's time to back the bow. This log diagram I fantastically drew up is quarter-sawn, meaning these green lines are exactly how they would cut out the wood out of this log. Now down here we've got a flat sawn, and it's cut flat, basically. Now you can make bows out of quarter-sawn logs, but what you need to do is add your own bow backing. But on a flat sawn board, what you can do is follow one little growth ring and allow that growth ring to be the back of your bow. Today, this log is flat sawn, so we need to follow one of these little growth rings if we can in order to get a strong backing for this bow. Thankfully, I took the time to choose a good piece of wood so that this shouldn't be too hard to back. One growth ring as good as I could. So now we're gonna move on to hogging off material off of the belly of the bow so that we can start to bend this. These shavings aren't quite hogging off material, but it's working, so if we just keep moving, we'll make progress. Surprising how much you can get off if you get after it with this little razor blade. You hit that angle right and you get pretty good shavings. What is up? Here the bow is. It is day 4 on this project. And I'm wearing the same clothes because I just take them off and toss them right there and then put them back on when I come back in the shop. That way I don't mess up the house. On day 1, we got the materials. On day 2, I nearly cut my finger off. It's a good idea to be careful with razor blades. On day 3, I got tired, so I just stopped and went and made some products. I kind of needed to fulfill some orders. And today's day 4, and we are at the floor tillering stage. We've removed enough wood that we're getting close. And now it's time to cut in these string grooves so we can start bending the bow with a string beyond floor tillering. I'm not gonna put the groove in the back of the bow because we don't have any tip overlays. There's the first one, not too bad. Both sides are done, we're ready to continue tillering. Now my thumbs are sore from scraping with these little razor blades. What tools would you have chosen? So far, I'm thinking I could have maybe got a cheap pocket knife or a chisel or something like that instead of that rasps, and it may have been more beneficial. The store didn't have any draw knives. I thought about a spoke shave, but I don't know if the price of that would have been worth it. So, what tools would you have gotten? Alrighty, it's time to get back to scraping and continue to work out these little guys. Oh, I forgot to put notches in my tillering tree, so I'm gonna do that real quick. I think I took a lot of wood off, so it should bend some. That looks surprisingly good. Maybe that's a benefit of taking wood off so slowly, is you really get to take control. I've really been considering backing this with the Gorilla Tape because I don't know, I don't think I followed the growth ring perfectly on the back. And I did a test a while ago with duct tape on an Osage orange bow that had already lifted a splinter, and it did well to hold that splinter down. Now, if there's no backing whatsoever and it's not just a splinter lifting, I don't think it's good backing at all, but I think it can benefit and help out to hold a splinter down. So with that in mind, I think I'm gonna put the Gorilla Tape on the back because it can't hurt it, and I really wanna make this bow work. paracord is terrible string. It stretches so much, but we got a string on it. We're making really good progress. One of the challenges of trying to use paracord as a string is it stretches insanely far. And that makes it really difficult because you bend the bow really, really far to string it, and then it stretches down to here. But we've just about got a bow. I'm gonna try to shorten the string and string it again. Okay, I hate this part, stringing the bow, when you're not sure if it's a good one. See how far I'm bending that? That's like a 10 to 12 inch brace height. Way beyond what it should be. Oh man. Okay, come on, hold tight. Yes. Yes, 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 yes. All right, let's check the tiller real quick. Don't have a tape measure, but if I hold my hand. So the bottom limb is bending a lot more. We want the top limb to bend a little more, that way we have a positive tiller. So we are going to remove wood off the top limb before we move forward. And this brace height has already shortened quite a bit. As it sits here, it just continues to shorten and shorten and shorten. Paracord is not a good string material whatsoever, but we're gonna try to make it work today. We are so sticking close here, so I'm gonna finish tillering, finish up the handle, and we'll show you this finished product. Bow's done. I'm going to show you that in a minute, but first it's on to the arrows. I've got some wooden dowels here I'm going to use for arrows, and I'm going to use the Gorilla Tape for the fletching. But one of my biggest problems was, how do we make an arrow point? And I was trying to get some tubular steel so that I could put it over top and then whack in the front of it and kind of make a point and file it down so that it would be, basically a heavy front-ended arrow. But that was too expensive, and they didn't have them pre-chopped. They only had them in a longer section. That was like $12. It didn't fit our budget. So instead, I got a little hex nut that I'm gonna screw onto the dowel and just sharpen the dowel. And this is purely just to add weight. This may be a terrible idea, but it was the best idea I could come up with for 15 cents. That fits pretty good. Alright, there the bow is now. If it doesn't shoot, then what's the point? So we're gonna take a shot with this. $50, tools, arrows, everything you need. Okay, so these arrows are absolutely terrible because you can't stick them in past the nuts. They don't stick into the target. On top of that, the fletchings are so heavy that it just tips and falls backwards. There is no FOC, it's like ROC. Rear of center is the center of balance. But we're not stopping there. Let's shoot some normal arrows with a normal bowstring and see how this bow actually shoots.